Learning objectives. In this lesson, you would be learning about software, operating system, network traffic and applications, and the following in detail. Introduction, NIST, using data from operating systems, BIOS, volatile data, using data from network traffic, network forensic analysis tools, collecting network traffic data, examining collected data, identify an event of internet, examine data sources, data source value, examination and analysis tools, attackers identification, email, web usage, interactive communication, security applications. Operating system. Operating system OS is a collection of software. It manages computer hardware resources. It provides common services for computer programs. Time-sharing operating systems schedule tasks for efficient use of the system. It may also include accounting software for cost allocation, processor time. It also includes mass storage, printing, and other resources. Types of operating system. There are different types of operating systems: real-time, multi-user, multitasking, distributed, templated, and embedded. Real-time operating system. A real-time operating system is a multitasking operating system. It aims at executing real-time applications. Multi-user operating system. A multi-user operating system allows multiple users. It helps to access a computer system at the same time. Multitasking operating system. A multitasking operating system allows more than one program. It is to run at the same time from point of view of human time scales. Distributed operating system. A distributed operating system manages a group of independent computers. It makes them appear to be a single computer. Templated operating system. Templating refers to creating a single virtual machine image. It occurs in an OS, distributed and cloud computing context. It is as similar as a guest operating system. Embedded operating systems. Embedded operating systems are designed for a purpose. It is used in embedded computer systems. What is hacking? Hacking refers to an array of activities. They are done to intrude someone else's personal information space. It is done so as to use it for malicious, unwanted purposes. Hacking is a term used to refer to activities aimed at exploiting security flaws. It is to obtain critical information for gaining access to secure networks. A brief history of hacking. The following are some history of hacking. During 1980s, cyberspace coined. 414 people were arrested. 2 hacker groups formed. 2,600 published. In 1990s, national crackdown on hackers was initiated. Kevin Mitnick was arrested. Microsoft NT operating system was pierced. Brief history. In 2001, in one of the biggest denial of service attack, hackers launched attacks against eBay, Yahoo, CNN.com, Amazon, and others. 2007, bank hits by biggest ever hack. Swedish bank Nordea recorded nearly 1 million has been stolen in 3 months from 250 customer accounts. Famous hackers. The renowned hackers are Ian Murphy and Robert Modis. Hacker attitude. The world is full of fascinating problems. It is waiting to be solved. Being a hacker is lot of fun. But it is a kind of fun which takes a lot of effort. The effort takes motivation. To be a hacker, you have to get a basic thrill from solving problems. You need to sharpen your skills and exercise your intelligence. Nobody should ever have to solve a problem twice. Creative brains are a valuable, limited resource, so that it's almost a moral duty for you to share information. It is to solve problems and then give the solutions. Hackers can solve new problems. instead of perpetually readdress old ones. The following are hacker attitudes. Boredom and drudgery are evil. Hackers and creative people in general should never be bored. They have to drudge at stupid repetitive work. Freedom is good. Hackers are naturally anti-authoritarian. Anyone who can give you orders can stop you. It is from solving whatever problem you are being fascinated. Hacking skills. It is the fundamental hacking skill. If you don't know any computer languages, you can't do hacking. Get one of the open source Unix and learn to use and run it, the single most important step any newbie can take towards acquiring hacker skills. It is to get a copy of Linux or one of the BSD Unix, then install it on a personal machine and run it. Learn how to use the World Wide Web and write HTML. To be worthwhile, your page must have content. It must be interesting and or useful to other hackers. Hacking pre-measured. When you start hacking, the first thing you need to do is to make sure the victim will not find out your real identity. So, hide your IP by masking it or using an anonymous proxy server. This is only effective when the victim has no knowledge about computers and internet. Organizations like the FBI, CIA and such will find you in no time, so beware. Collecting the data. While collecting data, the following matters need to be kept in mind. Relations, level of analysis, sources. Examining the data. The most effective place to begin a computer forensic investigation is to consult first. The consultation should be done with the client. The consultation is to create a strategy for collecting, analyzing and processing the data. Data preservation. Electronic evidence, just like other types of evidence, is fragile. Entering data and loading software performs routine system maintenance. It is simply booting a computer which can destroy certain files. Data collection. Computer forensic experts can retrieve data from virtually all storage. They can also collect data from operating systems. It includes many antiquated systems. Retrieval of data from seemingly inaccessible media also can be done. Accessing active data on media, recovering deleted data and or deleted email. Data recovery. The data recovery process is an important portion of the forensic analysis. Expert testimony and reporting. Once the data analysis is complete, computer forensic engineers can help to support the client's court case. It is done by customizing reports about the data collected and produced. This will support the case providing the data. Examining data. On the Insight toolbar, click the admin icon. The data sources list opens. Any potential problems are marked with an exclamation mark in the list. The most serious problems are at the top of the list. Examining data. Select the data source that is causing concern. Click the data source name link. Examining data source. On the data source memory page, check the information in any of these sections provided for your data source. Event timeline lists events tied to the current status shown in the data sources list. Events in this summary are displayed per device. Errors are shown in red. Position your mouse pointer on timeline items to display additional information. Devices reported by this data source lists the type of devices, their IP addresses, and links to more detailed information for each device. After examining data source, edit the description of the data source to correct problem. Poll again forces polling to reveal if the problem was persistent or intermittent. Postpone data source polling for 1, 3 or 5 and stop the warning messages. Install a patch on the data source to correct the problem. Prepares an error report to NetApp customer support. Network traffic. Networking traffic controls the managing process. It also prioritizes the jobs. It controls or reduces the network traffic. Particularly, internet bandwidth is reduced with the help of network traffic. Use of network traffic. In order to use these tools effectively, it is necessary to measure the network traffic. It will determine the causes of network congestion. Then it attacks those problems specifically. IP addresses. Every system connected to a network has unique Internet Protocol address which act as its identity on that network. An IP address is a 32-bit address which is divided into 4 fields of 8 bits each. For example, 203.94.35.12. All data sent or received by a system will be addressed from or to the system. Finding out an IP address. A remote IP address can easily be found out by any of the following methods: through instant messaging software, through internet relay chat, through your website, through email headers. Finding an IP address via your website. One can easily log the IP addresses of all visitors to their website by using simple Java applets or JavaScript code. Countermeasures. One should surf the internet through a proxy server. One can also make use of the numerous free anonymous surfing proxy services. For example, www.anonymizer.com. IP address finding via email. Hotmail.com along with numerous other email service providers add the IP address of the sender to each outgoing email. A typical excerpt of such a header of an email sent from a Hotmail account is return path given here. BIOS. The fundamental purpose of the BIOS are to initialize and test the system hardware components. It helps to load a bootloader or an operating system. It occurs from a mass memory device. The BIOS of the original IBM PC XT had no interactive user interface. Error messages were displayed on the screen. It also coded in series of sounds. The sounds were generated to signal errors. BIOS software. BIOS software is stored on non-volatile ROM chip on the motherboard. It is specifically designed to work with each particular model of computer. It occurs by interfacing with various devices. Eventually, the devices make up the complementary chipset of the system. Boot devices. The BIOS selects candidate boot devices. It happens by using information collected by post and configuration information. The information is collected from EEPROM, CMOS RAM, or in the earliest PCs, DIP switches. Option ROMs may also influence or supplant the boot process. Here, the boot process is defined by the motherboard BIOS ROM. Boot environment. The CPU is in real mode and general purpose and segment registers are undefined. The memory below address 0 into 0000500. It contains the interrupt vector table, the 256-byte BIOS data area, but the boot program must set up its own stack, or at least MS-DOS 6 acts like it must. Data source. A data source is one entry in a data set. For example, if octet's data set has two data sources, RX and TX, each value in a value list corresponds directly to a data source. A data source information. A data source consists of 4 pieces of information about the corresponding value. Name, for example, RX and TX, type of data source, counter, gauge, derive or absolute. Minimum value, NaN equals negative infinity. Maximum value, NaN equals positive infinity. Data source types. The following are data source types: gauge, derive, counter, and absolutes. Gauge. A gauge value is simply stored as is. This is the right choice for values which may increase as well as decrease. They are such as temperatures or the amount of memory used. Absolute. This is probably the most exotic type. It is intended for counters which are reset upon reading. In effect, the type is very similar to gauge except the value is an integer and will be divided by the time since the last reading. This data source type is available since version 4.8. Internet Application Security (WHID) Web Hacking Incident Database. Annual report for 2007. 67% of the attacks in 2007 was profit motivated, and it has targeted the web applications. Acunetics, a leading vendor of web application security solutions, revealed that on an average 70% of websites are at serious and immediate risk of being hacked. Every 1,500 lines of code has one security vulnerability. Why so many attacks on web application? Attacks on web application, mobile application, browser application, internet data is shared 24/7. General hacking methods. A typical attacker works in the following manner. Identifies the target system by gathering information on the target system. Finds a possible loophole in the target system. Exploits this loophole using exploit code. Removes all traces from the log files and escapes without a trace. Fundamental methodology. Footprinting, discovery of web application, profiling, getting real attack points, exploit the system, finding the defend mechanism and approach for them. Footprinting. IP address and port as start point for the assessment myth. What if IP address is multi-hosted? One IP can have more application to assess. Finding web application running on domain. Analysis tool. The mission of this network forensic analysis tool is to store and then analyze. Host footprinting, domain footprinting, both focus on web application, tools and method. Web application attributes. Query string, JavaScript, cookie script, paths to, CGI bin, others. Why vulnerable? Poor web application coding, insecure deployment of web application, insufficient input validation, no web traffic filtering. Web application attributes are not guarded well. For example, query string. Classes of attacks. The authentication section covers attacks that target a website's method of validating the identity of a user, service, or application. Authorization. The authorization section covers attacks that target a website's method of determining if a user, service, or application has the necessary permissions to perform a requested action. Client-side attacks. The client-side attacks section focuses on the abuse or exploitation of a website's users. Command execution. The command execution section covers all attacks designed to execute remote commands on the website. Logical attacks. The logical attacks section focuses on the abuse or exploitation of a web application's logical flow. Attack techniques. Brute force. A brute force attack is an automated process of a trial and error used to guess a person's username, password, credit card number, or cryptographic key. Cross-site scripting. Cross-site scripting, XSS, is an attack technique that forces a website to echo attacker-supplied executable code which loads in a user's browser. SQL injection. SQL injection is an attack technique. It is used to exploit websites that construct SQL statements from user-supplied input. XPath injection. XPath injection is an attack technique used to exploit websites that construct XPath queries from user-supplied input. Dangers and concerns. DOS attacks, disconnect from the internet, Trojans exploitation, geographical information, file sharing exploits. Network hacking. A typical attacker works in the following manner. Identify the target system. Gather information on the target system. Find a possible loophole in the target system. Exploits this loophole using exploit code, removing all traces from the log files and escaping without a trace. Port scanning. Port scanning means to scan the target system in order to get a list of open ports. That is, ports listening for connections and services running on these open ports. Port scanning is normally the first step that an attacker undertakes. It is used to get a list of open ports, services, and other operating system running on the target system. It can be performed easily by using different methods. Manual port scanning can be performed using the famous Telnet program. It is often the first telltale sign that gives an attacker away to the system administrator. TCP Connect Scanning. Port Scanner establishes a full three-way TCP/IP handshake with all the ports on the remote system. The regular three-way TCP/IP handshake has been given here. Accurate and faster port scanning method. Port scanning security threats. Port scanning is commonly used by computer attackers to get the following information about the target system. List of open ports, services running, exact names and versions of all the services or daemons, operating system name and version. Major tools. Some of the best and the most commonly used port scanners are Nmap, Superscan, HPing. Common features of all the port scanners. Very easy to use. Display detailed results. Port scanning counter-attack strategies. It is impossible to stop clients from port scanning. Some useful anti-port scanning software available are ScanLocked, a Unix-based port scan detector and logger. Black Ice, a Windows-based port scan detector and logger. Snot, a packet sniffer cum IDS Abacus port sentry. Capable of detecting both normal and stealth port scanning attempts. ICMP scanning and introduction. The Internet Control Message Protocol ICMP is the protocol used for reporting errors that might have occurred while transferring data packets over networks. Extremely useful in information gathering, originally designed for network diagnosis and to find out as to what went wrong in the data communication. It can be used to find out the following: host detection, operating system information, network topography information, and firewall detection. ICMP host detection technique, ping command or utility. The ping utility can be used to determine whether the remote host is alive or not. The ping command can be used by the attacker for the following purposes. Host detection purposes, to clog up valuable network resources by sending infinite echo request ICMP messages. A sample output of a ping command executed on a Windows is given here. Types of attacks. There are an endless number of attacks, such as denial of services attacks, DOS attacks, threat from sniffing, and key logging, Trojan attacks, IP spoofing, buffer overflows. Denial of services attacks. Denial of services attacks are aimed at denying valid, legitimate Internet and network users access to the services offered by the target system. In other words, a DOS attack is one in which you clog up so much memory on the target system, it cannot serve legitimate users. There are numerous types of denial of services attacks. Ping of death attacks. The maximum packet size allowed to be transmitted by TCP/IP on a network is 65,536 bits. In the ping of death attack, a packet having a size greater than this maximum size allowed by TCP/IP is sent to the target system. As soon as the target system receives a packet exceeding the allowable size, it crashes, reboots, or hangs. This attack can easily be executed by ping command. Smurf attacks. In Smurf attacks, a huge number of ping requests are sent to the target system. It is done using spoofed IP addresses from within the target network. Due to infinite loops thus generated and due to the large number of ping requests, the target system will crash, restart, or hang up. Sniffers capture all data packets being sent across the network in the raw form. It is commonly used for traffic monitoring, network troubleshooting, gathering information on attacker, for stealing company secrets and sensitive data. Commonly available sniffers: TCP dump, ethereal, dsniff. Working and countermeasures. Sniffers work along with the NIC, capturing all data packets in range of the compromised system. Countermeasures: switch to switching networks. Only the packets meant for that particular host reach the NIC. Use encryption standards like SSL, SSH, IPsec. Threats from keyloggers. Record all keystrokes made on that system. Store them in a log file. It can later automatically be emailed to the attacker. Trojan attacks. Trojans act as a RAT or remote administration tool which allow remote control and remote access to the attacker. Working. The server part of Trojan is installed on the target system through trickery or disguise. This server part listens on a predefined port for connections. The attacker connects to this server part using the client part of the Trojan on the predefined port number. Once this is done, the attacker has complete control over the target system. Detection and countermeasures. Port scan your own system regularly. If you find an irregular port open on which you usually do not have a service running, then your port system might have a Trojan installed. One can remove a Trojan using any normal antivirus software. What is NetBIOS? NetBIOS, Network Basic Input-Output System, was originally developed by IBM as an application programming interface API for client software to access LAN resources. Since its creation, in strictest sense, NetBIOS is an interface specification for accessing networking services. Step 1. Get an IP range. Scanner, recommended superscanner. Scan the victim's IP on TCP IP port 139. Step 2. Open a DOS prompt. Go to Start, Run. Type CMD and press OK. This is what you see. This is what you need to type down. Replace 255.255.255.255 with the victim's IP address. Step 3. NetBIOS remote machine name table. Victim disable the file and the printer sharing. Find another victim. Type down, you can replace X. C-disk is the name of the shared hard drive. If the command is successful, we will get the confirmation. Now open Windows Explorer and you will see a new network drive, X. What is network forensic analysis? Network forensic analysis takes traditional protocol analysis. It is performed to the next level by extending the duration. Here, the analyzer can capture packets. These packets have the latest capture, storage, and analysis technology. Applications of network forensic analysis. The main application of network forensic analysis is optimizing network and application performance. Data center consolidation. Here, network forensic analysis capture unexpected traffic pattern. Then, it isolates problems caused during deployment of virtualization. Unified communication deployment. It evaluates stability and quality of deployment. It happens during pilot and the first few weeks of operation before contractor warranty ends. Network forensic analysis tool. The mission of this network forensic analysis tool is to store information. Then it will analyze the potential information. Selecting a network forensic analysis tool. Performance, visibility, capacity, redundancy, ease of use, and depth of analysis. Performance. What is the throughput of disk, not to memory, with no packet loss? Visibility. The following details need to be kept in mind while selecting analysis tool. How many links can one recorder connect to? And what kind of topology can it link to? How much will turn on real-time monitoring or data analysis and affect the throughput? Capacity. The details of capacity should be kept in mind by considering following questions. Is the storage specified based on raw storage? Is the real data storage available? Is there a way to filter or slice traffic so that only relevant data is stored? Selecting a network forensic analysis tool. Is RAID 5 or 10 used? If not, what happens when the hard disk fails? Will data be lost? How much work does it take to recover the system and or the data? Ease of use. How difficult is it to analyze the network data capture? Can data collected from different parts of the network be easily aggregated? Can it be segmented and analyzed to get to the root cause? Selecting a network forensic analysis tool. Depth of analysis. The following factors need to be discussed while depth of analysis occurs. How many applications would the tool be able to decode and support? What about video and voice analysis? How is the analysis performance of the solution? Is there any easy way to analyze traffic across the network? Attacker's identification. There are three main methods used to perpetrate a session hijack. These are session fixation, session sidejacking, and cross-site scripting. Session fixation. Session fixation, where the attacker sets a user's session ID to one known to him. For example, by sending the user an email with a link that contains a particular session ID. The attacker now only has to wait until the user logs in. Session sidejacking. In session sidejacking, the attacker uses packet sniffing to read network traffic between two parties. It is done to steal the session cookie. Many websites use SSL encryption for login pages. This is to prevent attackers from seeing the password. Cross-site scripting. In cross-site scripting, the attacker tricks the user's computer into running code. Then it is treated as trustworthy because it appears to belong to the server. So, it allows the attacker to obtain a copy of the cookie or perform other operations. LAN email systems. CC Mail, Lantastic, WordPerfect Office, Microsoft Mail, Banyan Wines, Lotus Notes. Web usage. Internet users are persons using the internet in the last 12 months from any device. It also includes mobile phones. Penetration is the percentage of a country's population that are internet users. Access subscriptions. Fixed broadband access, mobile broadband. Conclusion. Thus, we have learnt about software, operating system, network traffic and applications and the following in detail. Introduction. NIST. Using data from operating systems. PIOS. Volatile data. Using data from network traffic. Network forensic analysis tools. Collecting network traffic data. Examining collected data. Identify an event of internet. Examine data sources. Data source value. Examination and analysis tools. Attackers identification. Email. Web usage. Interactive communication. Security applications.